everybody, how's it going? And welcome back to Copper Jacket TV. So over the past few months, I've reported on about a handful of states that have just doubled down on their gun control. I mean, the legislation that's been passed in these states like Illinois, New York, New Jersey, Washington, and so forth have been absolutely terrible. But one state now is tripling down. This is by far the worst that I have seen yet. They're just not giving up. We're talking about Washington State and 5 bills that will eliminate the Second Amendment in Washington. So let's get to it. This channel is proud to be sponsored by the USCCA, absolutely one of the best resources and best memberships you could ever have in your wallet. They will teach you how to respond before and after a self-defense incident. They have a 24/7 emergency hotline. They will get somebody out there to take care of you and to speak for you, a lawyer of your choice. So definitely worth taking a look at the USCCA. With your membership, you get that self-defense liability insurance as well. So check them out down below. Let's get to it. Okay, so thanks to the GOA, we know that these 5 bills are going to be heard by the Justice and Judiciary Committees in both the House and the Senate in Washington tomorrow. So depending on when you're watching this video, it's going to be on January 17th, 2023. These bills are expected to pass the committee. They're expected to pass in their respective chambers, go on to the opposite chambers, and more than likely will be signed by the governor. These are some pretty big ones. We have HB 1178, HB 1143, 1144, 1240, and SB 5078, which oddly enough, I believe is the exact same Senate bill number that was given to the recent Washington State magazine ban, but this SB 5078 does something a little bit different, and if you ask me, even worse. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about each one of these bills and what they do, and I'll try and keep this fast so that you guys don't have to watch a 10-minute video. But first we have HB 1178, which gets rid of Washington's preemption law. They're basically going to eliminate the preemption law, which basically states that any city or county that wants to enact a law can't go further than what the state law already is. So they have to stay within state law. If we get rid of preemption, that means that each county, each city, each area would be able to create their own law and go as far as they want with that law, even if it exceeds the state, the laws that exist in the state as they are. So what you would have in Washington would be essentially a patchwork of different laws depending on where you were within the state. Okay, so now let's go and talk about HB 1143. As if things aren't bad enough already, this is the one that, to me, just completely eliminates the Second Amendment altogether because it's no longer a right. HB 1143 would require that somebody get a permit to purchase. Now, in order to get that permit, obviously, you're going to have to go through training. There's going to be fees involved. There's going to be time and money and expenses and waiting periods and all sorts of things that are going to be involved in obtaining that permit. And if you have to get a permit from the government in order to do something, it's no longer a right. It's now a privilege that's granted to you by the government, who can revoke it at any time, and that's going to have to be renewed every 5 years. That's HB 1143. Now, HB 1144 is the bill that actually creates the training requirements that are needed in order to abide by 1143. So, you have to get the training done, you have to get all that stuff. Well, what's the training requirements? 1144 outlines what those training requirements would be in order for you to get that permit or license. And it wouldn't be a complete gun control package if they didn't have HB 1240, which is going to introduce a new so-called assault weapons ban in the state of Washington. So they've already gone after the mags, they're going after everything else. They're going to make you have a purchase requirement, but they're going to limit what you can purchase just based off of features, aesthetics, and things that they don't like. So this will be the 10th state, if this passes, it'll be the 10th state to institute something like this. And again, in a post-Bruin world where they've already been told you can't do that. We've had Heller, now had Bruin, and still they think that this is perfectly fine and 100% constitutional and legal. Okay, so now let's go and talk about the last bill, which is actually coming out of the Senate. It's going to be in the Senate Justice Committee on the 17th. This is SB 5078, which actually looks to overturn any protections against lawsuits or liabilities that the industry itself might have. And so they're looking to go after the industry. Now, there's the Protection and Lawful Commerce Act, which is, something that's a federally recognized law where it says, you can't sue manufacturers for liabilities, when their product is used for something that it was not intended to be used for, right? But they're saying that they can still do it on a state level. They're saying that the Supreme Court has somehow said that they're allowed to do that on a state level. And so they're using certain laws in order to try and get around things. They're trying to use certain loopholes to say that, well, they can and they will on the state level. So what's the law that they're using to justify being able to sue the industry? Well, they're saying that they're a public nuisance. And so they're using public nuisance laws just like other states have done in the past as well. And they're saying that, the way that they market things, the way they bring things in, what their products are intended for, all create a public nuisance. Somehow they managed to get doctors and nurses and other people on board that support this as well. And so there is actually a lot of support for this bill in the state of Washington. But again, this would totally bankrupt the industry. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to say you can't bring anything in here. Nobody's going to want to bring anything into Washington, because if they do, well, then they might suffer some of those, frivolous lawsuits based on that, that law. So again, it basically leaves the door wide open for lawsuits against the industry and is basically there to try and scare them away from doing business in Washington. Now, these are set to be heard at 10:30 a.m. on the 17th, so we should have an update on these bills fairly soon. I expect, and it's my own prediction, that all of these are going to make it out of committee, they're going to pass their respective houses, and they're going to be signed by the governor. Again, that's just what I think. That's my own personal opinion, just based on the makeup of politics in Washington right now. It's just like California and Illinois and New Jersey, New York. When there's no oversight and you don't have enough people to have any effective oversight, this is exactly what happens. Doesn't matter if it's unconstitutional to them. They don't care if they step on people's rights, because this is, believe it or not, a civil rights issue. But when they step on people's rights, they simply don't care as long as it, fits their agenda. So, this is something we're going to watch close. I'm going to bring you an update to let you know whether or not they come out of committee. And if they come out of committee, I'll let you know. If they get past their respective houses, I will let you know. And if they make it up to the governor's desk and get signed, I will let you know here. So make sure you hit that subscribe button if you want to stay on top of this one or any other legislation that's happening across the country. I want to make sure that you guys are informed as to what's going on, because again, post-Bruin, there seems to be just this huge backlash from several states across this country who are just doubling or now tripling down on their legislation. So thank you all very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Please like, subscribe again. You guys have a great day.